I never believed in panic attacks until I had one.
I used to have these recurring nightmares about people breaking into our house. We never actually experienced a break-in, but it was just the fear of it happening that used to freak me out and make me so tense.
It's a constant weight. I feel like I'm always carrying something extra. I can't just be, because then the thoughts start all over again.
I was under so much pressure at school and I was so hard on myself. I wasn't getting the marks that I wanted and I had so many extra commitments too. I had insecurities, friendship and family issues. It all just piled up inside of me.
I always slept with the windows shut and the door locked. I developed insomnia and just became obsessed. I couldn't even go out with my friends at night anymore because I just panic about my mom at home.
It dampens everything. It's hard. Even on the good days, I can't just be real with people.
One day during maths, it felt like I completely shut off. I couldn't think. I ran outside, I sat down somewhere, and it felt like I couldn't breathe. I was crying, I felt dizzy, I didn't know what to do.
I never told anyone because my friends would just think I was weak.
I feel like I don't know how to be myself anymore, that even just by looking at me, people will know I'm different.
You know what anxiety feels like. We all do. Whether it's that feeling of panic the night before an exam, the pressure of having too many deadlines, a fear of speaking in public, or even the thrilling terror of your crush sliding into your DMs. Everyone experiences anxiety at some point. It's what connects us. And right now, we all have an extra dose of anxiety as our nation gets rocked by constant upheaval and change. But what if I told you that without anxiety, we'd all be in serious trouble? You see, as soon as your brain senses danger, a little piece called the amygdala kicks in. It gets you ready to fight, run away, or shut down. This is called the fight, flight, or freeze reflex. It goes back millions of years and was a good way of keeping us alive back when the world was all about physical danger. This has now developed into the system we know as anxiety. Anxiety is good when it's helping you run from a lion or freeze when you see a snake. But when there's no immediate life or death threat, but your body is still sending you those signals, that's when anxiety becomes a problem. Modern society can be messy, confusing, and stressful, causing our brains to misread the situation and overreact. Our hearts beat faster, we breathe heavily, our muscles tense up, our skin perspires to cool us down. This would be great if we needed to fight or run away, but instead, we just feel tense and sweaty. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk or work. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When things trigger our anxiety, we try to avoid them. But that can cause problem when those triggers are a normal part of life, like going to school, writing a test, or meeting new people. We can't just keep running away or avoiding our anxiety. When anxiety gets really bad, it lasts longer than a moment. This causes your mind and body to suffer and can lead to lasting problems. Although scary, the symptoms of anxiety are actually manageable, but we must pay attention to what our brain and body are trying to say. Here are some mental first aid you can use to reduce anxiety. 1. Deep breathing is a great first step. It might sound silly, but relaxing your body can help sidestep a panic attack. Take 10 deep breaths, filling your lungs and slowly breathing out, focusing just on the breath going in your nose and out your mouth. Before long, your blood pressure will lower, your mind is more alert and focused, and you feel calm. 2. Try finding 4 things around you that you can see, 3 things you can touch, 2 that you can smell, and 1 you can taste. Forcing your mind to consider something outside yourself helps break the cycle of panic thoughts. 3. Avoid what-if thoughts. These type of questions don't actually help, as they all rely on unknown actions in the future. Instead, look at the facts. What do you know about the situation you are facing? Have you dealt with something similar in the past? What solutions can you put in place? You will be amazed at just how formulating a rough plan reduces your anxiety and helps you cope. 4. Plan a routine. Our brains thrive on structure and pattern. So when anxiety rises, build healthy habits into your day, breaking it down into smaller sections of time, including time to do schoolwork, exercise, have fun, and time to work on yourself. 5. Get help when you need it. More on this a little later. So, next time you feel anxiety creeping in, don't dismiss it. Recognize it as your amygdala's natural response to protect you. But gently remind your amygdala that you are the boss of your emotions and that the anxiety is not actually needed in the situation you are facing. Like a surfer out at sea, your anxiety can be a wave you ride, not a wave that drowns you. You control the ride.
What do we do when anxiety and negative thoughts take over? When instead of surfing the wave, we feel like we're drowning in it? When thoughts that are anxious, sad, hopeless, or fearful keep coming no matter how hard we try? It might be due to an underlying mental illness. Let's have a look at two of the most common mental illnesses affecting South African teens. An anxiety disorder is an illness characterized by intense feelings of fear and worry that are long-lasting and strong enough to interfere with one's daily activities. The symptoms of an anxiety disorder are intense ongoing fears about normal life situations or activities, panic attacks, restlessness, negative thoughts, irritability, insomnia, and fatigue. Depression is a mood disorder that causes ongoing feelings of sadness and a loss of interest, which severely affects someone's ability to cope with normal life. It also affects the ability to think or feel clearly, alters behavior, and twists the way someone sees the world. Some symptoms to look out for include constant sadness, feelings of hopelessness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, disrupted sleep patterns such as sleeping too much or not enough, negative self-talk, suicidal thoughts, self-harming, starving yourself, or overeating. Depression and anxiety can negatively affect a person's ability to work, carry out usual daily activities, and have satisfying personal relationships. Sometimes you can have symptoms of either anxiety or depression without actually having a disorder. In other words, you can feel a little depressed during a tough time in your life without actually being diagnosed with medical depression. Young people are often too quick to self-diagnose themselves based on talking to friends or what they see on TV. This can really be dangerous. If you are experiencing any concerning symptoms, you must go see a doctor and receive a proper diagnosis and treatment plan. If you have been diagnosed with either depression or an anxiety disorder, it is important to stick to the instructions given to you by your doctor, such as going to therapy, taking medication, or both, because these will help you to cope and recover. What is most important is to remember that you do not have to suffer alone or in silence. If you know you aren't coping, speak to your teacher, friend, or parent. If you or someone you know are having thoughts about self-harm or questioning whether life is worth living, get help. Your life matters, and with the right help, life can be fun and meaningful again.
The chances are someone you know is battling with anxiety or mental illness right now. It can be really scary for them to share their struggle and get help from those around them as they worry about feeling judged. It can be overwhelming when it seems like so many people believe fake myths about mental illness. Maybe you've even heard some of the hurtful or ignorant things people say. Society has created a culture of judgment. But what if we change the narrative? What if we created a culture of empathy? What would that do? Have you ever stopped and considered whether the comments you have made about your friend's stress have been helpful or hurtful? Do they build up or tear down? So, how do we stop the judgment? Our biggest weapon against this stigma is empathy. To have empathy is to take on the feelings or perspective of another person, walk a mile in their shoes, or look at the world through their glasses. It's about considering how that person feels and why. It's thinking about the life experiences that have shaped them and their behaviors. This breaks down barriers and enables us to respect each other and the journey we are all on. Once we have empathy, we can get our friends the help they need by speaking up on their behalf. Judgment lives a small, selfish, and ignorant life, whereas empathy lives a large, inclusive, and courageous life. So what will you choose to partner with today? Blaming and judgment, or empathy and kindness? What would you hope others would show you? Choose empathy.
Be strong enough today and focus on making a better tomorrow. That's my motto. Speaking to others about my experiences and helping them learn to be more accepting is part of creating that brighter future. One day I'll reach my breakthrough. I'm believing in that. But until then, I'm going to focus on making today the best day can be and help others to do the same.
It affected so much in my life. The fear. The crazy thing is, nothing ever happened. All that worrying didn't change anything. I don't struggle with the fear as much anymore, but I remember how I would overthink everything. It was exhausting. Watching some stuff online taught me how to deal with it. Now I know my own triggers.
I realized that I wasn't in control of my life. The anxiety was completely controlling me. I had to learn how to deal with it and not just push those feelings deeper. There will always be something stressful in life until you stop trying to hide it and learn how to work through it. It can be beaten, but you need the right help so that it doesn't overtake you.